As Dallas and I are here to announce our next big move, biggest move we've ever made for Revival Today. Behind me is a building that will look nothing like it looks right now when we finish. We're on just under 5 acres of property that we've just finished purchasing, which is going to give us the ability to have a state-of-the-art studio. And in that studio, something I've wanted to have for a long time, which is a live studio audience. It's going to be a 500-seat building when we finish with it that'll give us the ability to touch the world with our broadcasts. This facility is going to give me the ability to do what I've really missed, which is having you in the audience to minister to personally. Obviously, you can't beat the reach of digital media. We touch the whole world every day, but we have the ability now with this to lay hands on people, pray for people that are sick, a place where you can bring people that are drug addicted, demonized, and really give them the ministry that you can't get on YouTube and Facebook. I can't wait. And then beyond that, we're going to announce the launch of Revival Today Church. We're going to hold Holy Ghost church services every Sunday morning. I'll be there most Sunday mornings. This isn't going to be like some little side project. We're going to give you and your family a place you can go that's a soul-winning church that values the presence of God, where you can get prayed for and ministered to, where there's not a critical race theory lecture or a mass and social distancing 10 minutes of no talking to anybody in the lobby. None of that. We're going to have a place where you're free and where you're free to experience the presence of God.
I'm incredibly excited because I know a lot of you have been asking about different meetings and events that we couldn't have during COVID, and trust me, we tried so hard. So this really frees us up to do everything that we want to do with healing meetings and women's conferences. So I am so looking forward to seeing you and having you be a part of this.
So I want to give you a twofold call to action. Number one, if your church turned in to a liberal nightmare in 2020 and you need a place to go, I would be happy to have you at our church. Number two, if you are a partner or a friend of our ministry, Revival Today, this is the biggest move by far we've ever made. By the time we finish remodeling that building, the acquiring of the property, you're looking at a couple of M's. So if you would stand with us now, I'll say thank you ahead of time. Pray and ask the Holy Ghost what He would have you to do. You've been so generous, and I thank you ahead of time for your extreme generosity. I know I speak on behalf of my wife, everybody here at Revival Today, when I say we love you very much. And now I can say I look forward to seeing you face to face here at the new home of Revival Today.
Hey.
Fly me to the moon.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Check the Market. Today is June the 17th of 2021. Welcome, Biff, and gorgeous Wales,
Golly.
and Joshua, and H-Tech. Welcome, everybody. Share the broadcast with everyone you know. They all need to hear this. JD, good morning. Jonathan. And Stock Market Samurai, good morning. All right, we're going to start talking about today.
All right,
And
so
we'll
I
see
have
how
no
it goes.
idea what you're talking about, but yes, stonks, Fed, crypto, BTC, Ethereum. What's BA?
Boeing.
Oh, I don't know why I hate Boeing.
I like Boeing.
I know you and I have always been at odds about Boeing, but interesting. And then Run?
Run is a solar company, Sunrun.
Ah.
We're going to be talking about them today.
I'm excited. Look, Peter's watching from South Africa. Missy McConaughey, you're such an OG. We love you. Nicholas Rosas from Coachella. It's back on
Coachella, California.
Coachella.
I thought Coachella was in Palm Springs. Or is it in Coachella, California?
It's in Coachella, California, apparently. And it's also a pretty trendy festival.
Yes.
Have you ever been?
No.
I bet Steph has been. Of course
You've
have.
been to Coachella? Seriously? Man.
I knew it.
Yeah, I have no desire whatsoever to go to that
I would
festival.
rather die. Can't imagine anything I would hate worse
No.
than walking around trendy people and whiny. It's like just Steph.
Just just walking around in the desert of California. No, thank you.
in like Prada lace. All right, let's get started.
Let's get started. All right, let's see the first article. The Fed won't talk about talking about anymore. They won't talk about talking anymore. So we'll see how this is gonna go.
These people, these guys, ruthless. Ruthless.
Let's see the article. The tapering conversation has begun. One of the most unique phrases the Federal Reserve has ever used to communicate with markets has been retired, at least according to Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. Asked Wednesday during a press conference about whether the Fed discussed plans to begin slowing down its pace of asset purchases, Powell confirmed that at this week's policy meeting, the central bank began talking about changing this program. I expect we'll be able to say more about the timing of tapering asset purchases as we see more data, Powell said Wednesday. There's not a lot more light that I can shed on that. But you can think about this meeting as the talking about meeting, if you like.
He said it twice. So that's concerning because I thought maybe you guys are giving him a hard time only because he's just kind of like minced his words a little bit. But he said it twice.
Yeah. So they're literally sitting down and they're talking about when they're going to talk about it.
They're going to talk about talking about it.
Yes.
Okay.
Why not just not talk about talking about it and then schedule a meeting
To talk about it.
Yeah, to talk about it and not like waste any time.
What do you think? He said that just to buy himself some time?
No, I think it's just so that investors in their minds are like, okay, it's on their minds. But then just say we're thinking about talking about it.
Right.
We've mentioned talking about it, but we're going to talk about talking about it.
Poor guy.
That's a whole conversation.
It's two conversations, though. Gotta talk about talking about it. Because potentially, if you just talk about talking about it, you're gonna eventually talk about it a second time.
Exactly.
The heck? What a strange thing to say.
They always come up with stuff like that, though, the Fed. Because they're very careful, because investors read into it, because they're very emotional beings. And so they just like,
So you think this was planned?
it's planned. It's all calculated, the way they communicate. Because they don't want like a huge market sell-off and then they have to walk back a statement they made or, yeah.
Wow. Well.
And
Market's open!
oh, that is true.
Just built.
And we missed the market open. But that's okay.
We were talking about the...
We're talking about it. And it looks like we're down a little bit on everything. But that's to be expected. With what the Fed did yesterday, I don't know why everybody's freaking out about it, but we're going to talk about it. And now I suggest that we retire that term. Let's keep going. See the article. For months now, Powell and other Fed officials have reiterated that they both were not talking about tapering asset purchases, which are still running at $120 billion per month, according to the Fed's statement on Wednesday. Nor were they thinking about raising interest rates. But now that the talk about tapering asset purchases has begun, chatter about quantitative easing among the media and Wall Street Fed watchers can shift from words to deeds. The biggest market-moving development out of the Fed's announcement was a change in its dot plot outlining expectations for interest rates. That data series now suggests up to 2 rate hikes by the end of 2023 could be warranted. Previously, this plot had shown only 1 hike would likely be necessary in 2023.
Interesting.
As Yahoo Finance's Brian Chung, what? Last slide. Powell sought to downplay the importance of this data in his press conference,
Oh, come on.
saying, among other things, that the dot plot should be taken with a big grain of salt. Powell's desire to move investor focus off this single data point did little to sway markets that sold both stocks and bonds in response to this news. As for the Fed's talk on tapering, will turn into action. Attention now turns to the Fed's annual economic symposium in Jackson Hole, set for late August. That sounds nice. Gregory Dacko at Oxford Economics said Wednesday that consensus expectations are that Powell will signal at that meeting a change in the Fed's asset purchase program may be warranted early next year. So now I understand why they're talking about, because they're going to all these symposiums in Jackson Hole, Aspen, Lake Tahoe, all these nice places.
Expenses.
I would be doing the exact same.
No kidding.
And next article. When you accurately predict the market. Next. When you buy a few shares of the hottest meme stock, CEO of AMC. That's exactly how I feel.
Same.
Next.
And what's crazy is the fact that you have that mug.
I do have that mug. You're right.
Is that not
I'm going to
bizarre?
bring it in tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. Wow, more accurate than you thought. Good
Yes.
Lord. Next. El Salvador to keep dollar as legal tender seeks World Bank help with Bitcoin.
So I guess they didn't think this through.
Oh my God. They're like,
jumped the gun a little bit.
hey guys, we're screwed. Oh no. What's Bitcoin doing?
Bitcoin is still it still can't break like the 40,000 mark.
Poor El Salvador. I mean, I guess somebody had to take the first leap of faith. Let's read it. Poor guy. San Salvador, June 16th, El Salvador, I keep doing that. El Salvador will not replace the U.S. dollar with Bitcoin as legal tender, Finance Minister Alejandro Zelaya said on Wednesday, as the Central American nation sought technical assistance from the World Bank to implement Bitcoin regulation. The Central American country this month became the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, with President Nayib Bukele touting the cryptocurrency potential as a remittance currency for Salvadorans overseas. Continue. Ooh, small writing. El Salvador, I need bifocals at this point, my lord. El Salvador has been using the U.S. dollar as legal tender for the. What if they start isolating it and really enlarging it, like my dad? As legal tender for the past 2 decades after abandoning its own currency. Finance Minister Zelaya said he clarified to the International Monetary Fund last week that El Salvador would not abandon the U.S. dollar and replace it with the cryptocurrency. He was like, listen, I know what the president said, but we gave our official position to the IMF. We have been empathetic. We are not replacing the U.S. dollar as legal tender in El Salvador, Zelaya told a news conference. El Salvador is in the middle of loan negotiations with IMF for $1 billion program to patch budget gaps through 2023. Zelaya said El Salvador continues to negotiate with IMF and called the talks successful. El Salvador has sought technical assistance from the World Bank on rules and implementation of Bitcoin. Which are there? Does the World Bank have rules on Bitcoin?
They help with banking in all those countries, and so they have more of a knowledge and understanding of what they need to do with like international banking regulations. How would this work if we make it legal tender?
So are they the ones that would go after Tether if?
Would they go after Tether?
Yeah, or the World Bank just to kind of implement some kind of.
They would, yeah.
They would, right?
They would talk to governments about it, and then the governments would go after it.
All right, continue. Okay. Yellen pushes Biden's massive budget as she warns of destructive economic forces. Let's read it. I'll read this for you, Patrick. This is nice big letters. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, she's got a face, on Wednesday made the case for Congress to approve President Biden's massive $6 trillion budget. You know, you're richer than the U.S. government. Isn't that something to think about?
That is true. I am.
Yeah. You're not trillions of dollars in debt. Warning the U.S. economy faced a series of long-term structural challenges that hindered Americans' ability to make a good living. While Yellen said the U.S. has made substantial progress in its economic recovery from the pandemic, she said the country still faces a slew of obstacles, such as income inequality. That is the most infuriating
It's
term.
structural. It's systemic.
It's systemic. It's racist. It's not going green or whatever. It's like it's what's the word? You know, when people, you know, like not going green, you know, it's
Climate killer.
climate change.
Yeah.
Climate change. They've actually blamed the climate change, like economic difficulties on climate change.
Yeah.
The border on climate change. Who would have thunk? Huh?
Yeah. It's not because of all the gang violence.
Nah. MS-13? Nah. Cartel? El Chapo? No. Declining labor force participation, racial gaps, and climate change. There it is. All right. Sorry.
See, here, go. There she is.
I'm gonna. Whoa.
She used to be the Fed Reserve Chairman.
Hang on a second.
Thank you, Tranny Bonaducci.
No offense, but your face looks like a cauliflower.
Y'all make me sick. Y'all make me sick.
I was so ugly, my mother breastfed me through a straw.
Poor lady.
So, as a Fed chairman, I don't understand why she would be pushing a $6 trillion budget. Because that would make the Fed's job harder in controlling, you know, monetary policy.
They have.
So if you've been in
what
that
is
job,
happening?
why would you do something? I just don't understand her.
I think any kind of basic, if you have any basic understanding of the economy, you would understand that that's $6 trillion is like suicide.
Yeah.
What the heck are they doing?
It's huge. Huge. And they said
Holy.
that one of the structural economic problems is labor force participation.
Well, I
But
mean, that's their fault
if
too.
If you're hindering labor
If you're
force
incentivizing
exactly.
people for staying at home, what? You can't have it
don't
both ways. I
understand
don't
it. No, you
understand it.
can't.
Of course, they're trying to implode the economy. Anyways, that's all.
Continue.
Why would I go to work? You know, minimum wage, get $300 a week when I could go on unemployment and make $600.
Yeah.
That's a real case. I know plenty of people that are like that. Anyway, these destructive forces, the divergences in wages and geographic regions, the decline in labor force participation, the rise of climate change, oh my gosh, and the persistence of racial inequality.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe these people? The balls to have to say, like,
Yeah.
racial inequality has anything to do with it's all your fault, lady. All these are combining to block tens of millions of Americans from the prosperous parts of our economy, Yellen said.
Just get a Robinhood account and invest.
Fact.
Like, it doesn't matter who you are. If you have a social security number, then get yourself a Robinhood account and invest. It's
Well, I think that this is all created to keep people down.
Yeah.
Racial inequality. So then all of a sudden, I'm a different race, and then I'm like, oh man, if Yellen said this, that's because it's true. This must be rampant in this country. I'm not going to have the same exact opportunities as somebody who's white. And then all of a sudden, I mean, literally, this is how it works.
And there's people that don't have the opportunities that she has right now. It's, a $6 trillion budget is not going to put money in my pocket to where I can invest, I can have the $40 million to invest with Renaissance Technologies, the hedge fund.
Right.
You know what I mean? Those are the most prosperous parts of our economy.
Right.
Nobody's getting access to those.
No.
Except for the wealthiest.
Right.
Which is good. And the way you get there is by investing. And working hard.
That's exactly right. The Biden administration's fiscal 2022 budget requests include roughly $4 trillion in new spending, a majority of which would go towards drastically expanding the social safety net as part of his Build Back Better agenda. His Build Back Better, he doesn't do jack diddly squat. Biden has proposed establishing programs such as paid family leave, universal pre-kindergarten, and free community college, and investing billions in combating climate change and healthcare for disabled and elderly Americans.
That's the part I'm interested in.
Disabled
what
and
companies are those billions going to that I can invest in?
That's true. Very good. Very good. How
they're
are
able
we
to pass
combating climate change too? Just
by building windmills
just-
and solars.
It doesn't really work. I was driving the other day. I think I already said this, in West Virginia, and there was a windmill. What is it? It's just like a big, giant,
Like one of those.
whatever wing
Yeah.
of it, and it was gigantor.
Yeah. They're massive.
They are so big that I half wonder, how is this even effective?
Yeah. When I was driving to my brother's in Indiana, we were driving at night, and there was all these red lights. And I'm like, man, those are a ton of planes. Like, what is going on? And as we're getting closer, it was all just like the flashing light on the top of these
Windmills.
These windmills, yeah.
Too big.
These wind turbines, yeah.
And I remember when Trump said this, many years ago, it was 2000 and I think it was our few trips into our Hawaii thing. So it was probably 2015 or something. He wasn't president. He wasn't even looking for it. But he said these things are totally expensive. They're really expensive. They're really hard to fix. And they're just not worth their cost. Plus, they look like aliens.
Yeah.
Then they started putting them up in Hawaii, in Maui.
Yeah.
Do you remember seeing them? Mm-mm. They destroyed that one side of, I think it's by Lahaina.
Yeah.
I mean, and it looks literally alien-like. It's the scariest looking thing. Can you guys in the back try to get the windmills in Maui? Like a picture of the windmills? It's like this beautiful ocean and tropical breeze, and then all of a sudden
wind turbines.
It's awful. All right, let's stay on point here. He does. All right, continue. To fund various measures, Biden has pushed for a slew of tax hikes, including raising the corporate tax rate from 28% to 28 from 21, nearly doubling the capital gains rate paid by wealthy Americans to 39.6 from 20%, restoring the top individual income tax rate to 39.6, closing the stepped up basis at death and imposing a global minimum of 15% on U.S. company foreign profits. There are some tough trade-offs in fiscal policy, but this, a fair tax code for a structurally sound economy, is not one of them, Yellen said. Next. There it is. So think about going down. That's what you see. Do you remember this?
Yes.
It is the most
Way to ruin
god-awful thing you ever did see.
With as much as they like to protect their the naturalness of the islands, I'm surprised that they let this happen.
I agree.
Unless this was just forced through by the government.
Yeah, unless
somehow.
they ended up getting some type of kickback.
Yeah.
I wonder. I'm going to read up on it because it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm telling you, like, one of those propeller things is
It's huge.
massive.
Yeah.
Massive. So the fact that you can see these so clearly from the highway, like down below, right over there, is just, it's so gross. All right, next. Thank you.
Is it Vita or Vita? Vita?
Vita Coco.
Vita Coco owner is planning an IPO at over $2 billion value. So they saw
little
what
overpriced?
They saw what Oatly was doing, and they're like, you know what? We can do the same thing. So we'll see what happens.
What is happening, people?
See the
Why
article.
is she on there?
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is either. It kind of looks like Madonna, but it kind of looks like somebody completely
That's what I
different.
thought when I first saw it.
All right, let's read it.
The owner of coconut water company Vita Coco is planning to go public this year after investors rushed to back Oatly Inc.'s initial public offering, according to people with knowledge of the matter. All Market Inc., which also owns Runa Energy Drinks and the water brand Ever and Ever, aims to list its shares in the U.S. as soon as the third quarter. The people said, asking not to be identified, discussing private information. The company could be valued at more than $2 billion in an IPO. Any potential listing plans are not finalized and could change. Launched in New York in 2004, Vita Coco now makes flavored, sparkling, and caffeinated coconut waters, as well as coconut oil and milk alternative. All market acquired Runa, an energy drink made from plants found in the Amazon rainforest in 2018, and started selling water bottled in aluminum the following year. My goodness, I always get those mixed up. I'm sorry. Continue. The global wellness market, which encompasses fitness, health, nutrition, appearance, sleep, and mindfulness, is already worth more than $1.5 trillion and is set to grow by 5 to 10% annually, according to McKinsey & Company. Shares of Oatly, which makes oat-based substitutes for milk, yogurt, and ice cream, have jumped more than 60% since its May debut, to give it a market value of $16 billion. In its listing documents, Oatly cited a Zeno Group study found 90% of millennials said they would act in support of a purposeful brand.
Give me a break.
Early investors in Vita Coco included Madonna. Oh, so that is Madonna.
So that was
then.
Madonna,
Okay.
yeah.
Matthew McConaughey and Demi Moore. The company also counts
Bunch of old heads.
Berlinvest, an investment firm that focuses on so-called purpose-led brands, and Strand Equity among its backers.
I
The
want to know
firm
who the
website.
Logan brothers are investing in. That's who you should follow. Who cares what Madonna's doing? She's about to die.
Paul,
with Madonna
Jake
and, Jake and Paul Logan.
yes.
Yeah. Or the what's the other girls, the two girls, the sisters that are always on Snap. D'Amelios. D'Amelios? Did I say that wrong? Yeah, follow whatever they're doing. That's where the youth is going. Honestly, just do that. I can't believe I just said that. I sound like an old head. Tell me how they can do they just pull out a price from thin air, that $2 billion, or
No,
they're just
they look at the
projection, what the
exact-
value of
the
healthy
company is.
drink would be.
Yes.
Like that's why they said that it's the health company is over $1 trillion, whatever the
$1.5 trillion.
1.5 trillion. So they feel like their company can
Be valued at that.
at that.
At that price.
That's
Because
crazy.
they have more than just the
Vita Coco.
yes. They have the sparkling. They got all sorts of stuff.
All right.
And so I think that it'll be a fair value of the company when they list it, because they can't overstate the value by that much and list it. It's not going to go through.
You know how much a sales manager at Vita Coco gets? $46,000.
It's not bad
Brand ambassador salary, $17 an hour.
for a brand ambassador.
Mm-hmm. And you want me to believe that they're a $2 billion company? Anyways, Scooby.
Right, next.
Have you tried Vita Coco?
I have, yeah.
Do you like it,
I'm not a big fan of.
Steph? Never tried it. If Steph hasn't tried it, it doesn't even exist. Don't even buy it.
Airbnb and Vrbo battle for more vacation cabins as travel rebounds. So if you have a cabin, you could make some money. this coming summer. Let's see the article. Properties near beaches, lakes, and national parks remain in high demand as pandemic restrictions ease and flexible work arrangements stick. Vacation rental brands are jostling to persuade owners to list homes on their sites as properties are in short supply, like you were saying the other day, in certain outdoor destinations. Sites such as Airbnb and Expedia Group Vrbo have rolled out features designed to make it easier to become a host. Demand for homes near beaches, national parks, and other non-urban areas has been high during the pandemic, but it's accelerating as the economy reopens. Vaccinations rise, and some companies have announced plans to keep flexible work arrangements in place. Continue. Airbnb in May said it eased the sign-up process for new hosts, reducing the number of steps required to 10 from dozens. The company said it has added more than 100 upgrades to its platform, including features for one-on-one mentoring on hosting. It's also trying to convert guests into hosts, offering referral payments to hosts who can get others to list their places on Airbnb. Vrbo in March launched Fast Start, a program that allows hosts who have Airbnb experience to transfer their Airbnb ratings to Vrbo. Vrbo said it has acquired thousands of hosts through the program, though it declined to specify the exact number. So if you have a cabin in Tennessee or any one of those places, North Carolina at the beach, I'm sure you can get some good money for it this summer.
You better believe it. I've been trying to get like a beachfront home.
Yeah.
And I can't find anything under $7,000 for like 5 nights.
Yeah.
I would love that. I would love that. Gosh, $7,000 for 5 days. Lord, help us. Yes. I read an article on Airbnb, and they have like a security team that is like, it's like top secret.
Yeah.
Nobody understands where they run out of or whatever, or how they get paid. But it protects all Airbnb. This is the reason why I've been trying to book through Airbnb. I usually use VRBO. But apparently, if you lose something, say something gets stolen, say somebody breaks into the house or whatever, you call this certain Airbnb line. It's like an emergency line. And they walk you through crises. And they're literally like, they end up showing up like even before police officers do. Like there's this whole thing about it, about the Airbnb security. Then if you like say somebody's, you come in and somebody steals all of your belongings, they immediately do a cash payout for all of your belongings.
Seriously?
Yeah. So, and then of course, it was a Bloomberg article.
Yeah.
And so they were like, we tried to get to the bottom of it, tried to get to see and it's literally the most secretive thing.
It's SEAL Team 6.
It's SEAL Team 6. Do you think in the future Airbnb will actually be in the air? Oh gosh.
Possibly. Airbnb Mars. There was a petition. Did you
Elon,
see that?
Yeah. To stop.
There's a petition
Bezos.
going around
What is it
right
at
now. I don't know. I haven't checked.
I gotta check.
There's a petition. We've talked about Jeff Bezos going to space in July 14th or whenever he's going. And there's a petition to deny him re-entry to Earth. I thought that was pretty funny. It had 7,000 signatures when I last checked, like 7,300 or so.
Here. This is, let me see this.
Next.
Let me tell you right now, the petition, when we talked about it, was at 7,300.
Yeah.
Now it is at 12,748. I'm sorry, 49. I'm sorry, 50. It keeps getting signed. Let me just sign this real quick as we wait. Sign this petition. Macallis.
If you see a deal, you should buy it. So it looks like travel is rebounding with ferocity. Seriously, because VRBO, Airbnb are running out of places to stay. And airlines, if you see a deal, you should buy it, Frontier Airlines CEO says. Let's see the article.
If you see a deal with what? Real estate?
Like airlines, like tickets. Like
I
buy
see.
now.
Okay.
The sky's the limit, according to Frontier Airlines CEO Barry Biffle. Bookings have been surging for several months. Biffle told Yahoo Finance, if you're planning on going somewhere, you need to book it because, people are literally going to run out of seats. More than 2 million passengers moved through the Transportation Security Administration's airport checkpoints from June 11th to 13th, which is still about 600,000
as
fewer.
the frontline CEO.
Yeah.
Bye.
than the numbers on those days in 2019, but the airline industry expects passenger loads to keep growing this summer as Americans book post-lockdown COVID-19 pandemic vacations. But with American Airlines saying they need volunteers,
I know.
you know, this is actually on the rise, travel.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, especially these last couple trips that I've been taking. Typically, there was many empty seats. It has not been the case. It's been full flights back and forth. So you could just tell. Then let's not even talk about the car rental situation. It's through the roof.
Yeah, that's the car rental situation is horrible.
When we ended up leaving from Tampa back to Pittsburgh, we had seen like a whole bunch of people that had there was like one terminal and there was a ton of people that had just arrived. I'm telling you, there was thousands of people in that terminal. It was like shocking to the system to see that many people congregated together. Like, again, I was blown away.
So book your tickets, everybody.
Book them.
Except maybe on Frontier Airlines.
Yeah, yeah, like never. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. If you like Frontier, we support you. We're too bougie around here.
Continue.
Why would anybody do Frontier? You get
Frontier
nickel
was
and dimed for everything.
And they were one of the strictest. Them and Spirit were one of the strictest during the pandemic.
100%.
Kicking people off for all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I'm sorry that your kid has special needs. Get out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go.
No
way.
People have talked about the vaccine unlocking the demand, and that's what we're seeing. Frontier is among a group of airlines known as ULCC, ultra low-cost carriers, which includes Allegiant, Southwest, Spirit, and Sun Country. Frontier recently offered $16 one-way tickets for flights on June 26th from Charlotte to Orlando.
Wow.
So I think by the time you get to the 4th of July,
$16.
From then through the rest of the summer, I think you're going to see huge travel. So it's about time. So it's time to book. If you see a deal, you should buy it.
So you get $16 for one-way tickets.
Yes.
But then $150 for every bag that you carry.
It'll be cheaper just to fly Delta.
First class. Next. Barry Biffle. What an unfortunate name.
But you can also look at the airlines, because I think in the short term, we're still going to see their stock go up a little bit as news like that, good news like that keeps coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Their stock's going to go up, but then once they figure out that this is not sustainable, it's going to go back to where it was.
Is that why you think Boeing is a good investment?
I think Boeing's a good investment because it's a good old-fashioned American company, and I just want to believe in it. And I bought it right before
the
Ethiopian
747
Airlines crash in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
And it went down, and I just kept buying more and buying more and buying more. And now I've averaged to about $220 a share. It's at $240 a share.
Okay.
But I think that it's going to go back up to $300 because it's a company that's being traded on news. So all you see is just bad news about them. They need to work on their PR.
Sure.
Because it's always like, oh, okay, airlines are struggling with COVID, and then the problems with their 737 MAX, and then problems with composites and all of these things. And it's always a huge story because of those airlines, the one that happened in Asia and the one that happened in Ethiopia.
Right.
But I still think it's a good company. They make quality products, and they don't just produce
airplanes. Those are
airplanes.
huge black eyes.
They don't.
Those two scenarios, not just those two. Yeah. They were never recovered.
Yeah, but they fixed those problems. And the stock is cheap.
Because your voice went way up.
No,
you're like, they fixed those problems.
They're working on it. It's not just, honestly, it's not just a commercial airplane manufacturer.
No, you're right.
They produce weapons systems, space systems. And the more we're talking about space, the company's going to be profitable in the future. Boeing isn't going anywhere. It's too big to fail company.
Yeah, they were during the crash or whatever, they were given a whole litany of money too. But yeah, okay, fine.
I know people don't believe in Boeing, but I do, and it's actually our medium risk pick for the day. I'm going to sell Boeing at 300. Once it hits 300, I'm selling. I'm not going to hang on.
How long have you been waiting for Boeing to hit 300?
Since 2019. It went up all the way up to 480,
it could.
And then it just nosedived.
All right. Continue. China is quietly stepping up its interventions in markets.
Yes. So they're talking about, they don't like market manipulation. They don't like it when, the West does all those things, but it's okay for them to do.
Of course.
All right, let's see the article.
And how is you releasing a bioweapon into the world not... I just doesn't make any sense.
Did you see that skit with Jon Stewart?
No.
He was on, what's the other guy's name? They used to be on Stephen Colbert. He was on there and he was talking about it. Actually made Stephen Colbert super
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I did see that where he was like, the Wuhan virus came out of a lab in Wuhan. It's got the same name. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The audience didn't know whether or not they should laugh.
But I wanted to pull up I wanted to show you this article of China and what ended up happening, like the trajectory of China's economy during the pandemic versus every other country in the world. And it was the only one that kept increasing. Yeah. So don't talk to me about any of this, China. Okay? Don't! Let's read it, though. China is resorting to increasingly forceful measures to contain risks to the financial system in moves that threaten to undermine President Xi Jinping's pledge to give markets greater freedom. Authorities have in recent weeks ordered state firms to curb their overseas commodity exposure, forced domestic banks to hold more foreign currencies, considered a cap on thermal coal prices, censored searches for crypto exchanges, and effectively banned brokers from publishing bullish, I'm so glad I said bullish, equity index targets. I'm really proud of myself. A new rule will bar cash management products, because it doesn't look like that, products and holding riskier securities and limit their use of leverage. On Thursday, an official said China plans to sell metals from state reserves. So we had already covered that yesterday. While the measures fall short of direct intervention, they risk reinforcing the notion of moral hazard. If traders know authorities are likely to step in to limit gains or losses in an asset class, they can bet on that outcome with some certainty. The implied government backstop can encourage one-way bets, a challenge for policymakers that, as they seek to make markets more efficient while supporting an imbalanced economy recovery. Quote, the problem for China is that there is more debt and more risk to the financial system, making it harder to give up control of domestic markets, said Michael Pettis, Beijing-based professor of finance, Perkin University authorities avoiding the fall. China's economic restructuring. Jeez, mouthful. The more China stabilizes markets, the more fundamentally unstable they become because of moral hazard.
So what I see here, and I'm invested in some stocks that are based in China, is if you, this is how I interpret this. If you play ball, we'll let your company's stock go up. If you don't, you will crash, we'll kill your company.
Right.
Basically, right?
Yeah.
Because if traders know authorities are likely to step in to limit gains or losses in an asset class, so an asset class being stocks, so they're going to step in to limit gains or losses, they can bet on that outcome with some certainty. So you see somebody owns a company in China and they're not really happy with the CCP, and they want to list it on an exchange, that listing is not going to go through.
You're right.
Because you remember that Alibaba CEO, Jack Ma? He was always on TV and always in the news, and then he was going to list his company, believe it's called Ant, that owns Alibaba. He was going to list his company, and he went through so much regulatory scrutiny, and he was basically becoming too powerful, and so they had to take him down a notch.
Yeah.
And they released all these articles about him, how he's not a great guy, and you don't see him at conferences anymore. And
what was the stock with the electric car stock that is based out of, is it Thailand?
Taiwan, the Taiwan semiconductor. Is that the one?
No, it's not, is it NIO?
NIO, yeah, it's based out of China.
That's based out of China.
Yes.
So that's something to look at for those kinds of stocks that you're in.
Yeah.
Because if they're not playing ball, then you better run.
Yeah. So now there's one more thing you have to take care of when you invest.
And then there's the chip company based out of Thailand.
Taiwan.
Yeah,
the Taiwan semiconductor.
That's the one.
Yep.
And that's another one that to look at.
Yeah.
Because they all have to play game. with China, with the CCP, in order to be not thwarted.
Yeah.
That sucks. Is that it?
That's it, basically.
Next. Google to open first retail store steps away from Apple in New York City. Let me read that
Basically a
again.
Google
to open first retail store steps away from Apple in New York City.
What
Okay.
Apple?
Steps away.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they were like, I'm stepping away from, okay. I have a really, English is my second language, as it is yours. But seriously, steps away from the Apple store in New York City. Okay, so that's cool. I don't really like Google products, and I think Ron would be freaking out right now if he heard me. But I just don't.
Why is that?
I think Google is too big of a company. Like, I feel like I'm not safe with their products around.
Yeah.
And I'm not like that. You know I'm not like that.
Just gonna turn into like Transformers and
No, it's just like the, Big Brother kind of scenario.
watching every step. But Apple does the same thing.
Yeah,
Apple
does the
talks
same
a big
thing.
game about privacy, but I really don't think you have the privacy they talk about.
Well, at least
Because with Google, they share your information with everybody, but Apple, they just keep your information, but they still use your information.
yeah, I suppose. I mean, but it's just for whatever reason, and Google is such a giant that I just can't get with the program with there.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. I feel like an old head when I do that kind of stuff. But I was like unplugging all of my Google stuff during the pandemic. I was like, forget this. I refuse to give them any
They're not gonna
information.
listen to me.
All right, next.
Jobless claims from this morning. Initial filings unexpectedly rose to 412,000. So we're back over 400,000 last week.
Yeah.
Let's see the article. Initial unemployment claims unexpectedly rose last week to end a 6-week streak of improvements, even as economic activity ramped further and reopenings broadened out. But in the coming weeks, a phase out of enhanced unemployment benefits across many states may decrease the total number of claimants. The Department of Labor released its weekly report on new jobless claims today at 8:30. Initial jobless claims week ended June 12th, 412,000 versus 360,000 expected, and a revised 375,000 during the prior week. Continuing claims week ended June 5th, 3.518 million versus 3.425 million expected, and a revised 3.517 million during the prior week. New filings broke back above the psychologically important 400,000 level for the first time since mid-May, even with the increase in 4-week moving average for new jobless claims decreased by 8,000 to 395,000, given the drop in new claims over the several weeks. So the average is still under 400,000. Next article. U.S. housing market needs 5.5 million more units. National Association of Realtors said new housing in the past 20 years fell 5.5 million units short.
That's crazy.
Yeah. They need, several million of each, single-family homes, apartment buildings, and others. Next article. The Tether scandal, the biggest threat to the crypto ecosystem. What do you think about this?
I thought it was fascinating.
It is.
And if you're following crypto, you can basically follow that graph that he released, that every single time Tether dumps money into Bitcoin, the Bitcoin crashes.
Yeah.
So you could safely remove your Bitcoin during those times.
You want to read the article? Or?
Sure, let's do it. Huh? 25 slides?
We can save it for tomorrow.
You know what? Let's save it for tomorrow because this is a really important article and it's about 10-minute read. I'm not kidding. But it's a great, great article. We'll read it tomorrow. Now let's go for the daily picks.
All right. Daily picks. Low.
Fly me to the moon.
Low is Wealthfront, a robo-advisor bank that lets you choose your risk level. So instead of going for a stock, I figured, since a lot of people have been asking about this, a robo-advisor bank that lets you choose your risk level, perfect for someone who does not want to manage their own account. It automatically rebalances your portfolio.
Nice.
And it's rated the best robo-advisor for 2020 by Investopedia. And I went through their website, looked at it and everything. It looks like it's easy to use.
Okay.
And so what you do is you put money in, select your risk level, and then it automatically like puts you in different assets classes.
Nice.
And so yeah, I think it's for somebody who doesn't want to
Invest
themselves,
time.
like invest time in researching and all of those things. They can just have the robots do it for them.
Yeah. You know me and robots.
Which is
So I grew up in the 80s, RoboCop and all these kind of Terminator. We don't trust robots here. But that's a good option. So all right,
Wealthfront. Wealthfront.com, and they're not paying me. Yeah, like Acorn. Acorn does that too. Boeing is the medium. We already talked about this. It's just a good old-fashioned American company.
Investing in the beast system simply shows one's ignorance.
For the lazy investors, yes. There are some robo-investors investing that you can get into if you can get, believe it's $5,000 for Schwab's robo-investing, which is also rated very highly, or $25,000 for their like actively managed robo-investing, whatever that means. And there's one with Interactive Brokers as well that are rated fairly high and have good returns. Is Skynet a safe investment? So there's actually a company in China, I saw a clip on this yesterday, that are producing cameras for surveillance, like crowd surveillance, and it's literally, the company is called Skynet. The company's not called Skynet, but that program is called Skynet. And the guy and the lady, the reporter, this was on Vice News, asked the guy, he's like, but Skynet was like a bad thing. And he's like, yeah, I know, but that's one of our founder's favorite movies, Terminator. And so he named it Skynet, but he's going to use this Skynet for good. And I was like, why would you name it Skynet?
I can't even believe it.
I'll have to look it up.
wild.
Look up Skynet China and see if we can find it. All right, the high is Run, R-U-N, Sunrun. It's engaged in the design, development, installation, sale, ownership, and maintenance of residential solar systems.
Wow.
The company sells to homeowners over the phone, in the field, home sales. It recently struck a partnership with Ford to install their Ford charge station in customers' home and then pitch them a solar system for their roof.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was very interesting. Some analysts have put it in the $90 range. It's trading off its 52-week highs at $100 per share. Currently trading at around 42, somewhere in that range. It hit a bottom around 40 and hasn't tested those levels again since mid-May. Solid revenue growth, fairly good price to book ratio. 91% of shares are owned by institutional investors. I thought that was interesting. I think this for the future, this might be a good play. If they can get more partnerships like they did with Ford, and they can actually convert those pitches into sales, it'll be perfect.
Wow. All right.
So yeah, research that. Don't buy it. Research it first and see if that's something.
Always research. Don't blame us.
Do you guys have that Skynet? Are they downloading a video? Okay. Run is around 42, I believe. It's ready? Okay, let's see it. They've apprehended over 3,000 criminals. I believe it was in 2019 when that video was made. Alone. Just from Skynet. Isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting.
What is it?
I'll tell you later. But that's exactly what I was thinking back there. I was like, this is some high-level intelligence, let me tell you.
It is.
Billions of people that...
But why call it Skynet?
I don't know. It's very bizarre. It's very, very bizarre.
Crazy.
What kind of world are we living in? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how you find someone and terminate them.
Yeah.
Literally. Yes. Because that turns into, okay, that's if you're a wanted, somebody who's wanted.
Yeah.
But what if you said something about the CCP that they didn't like? They'll find you.
The guy was saying that, because the lady asked him, so what do you think this is going to look like in the future? And he said, I've never seen this movie, but it's called Black Mirror. I don't know, it has something to do with your social credit score. So if you walk down the street and you spit out gum, the cameras will automatically detect your face, it'll put it on a database and decrease your score instead of you putting it in the trash, right? So you don't have access to certain asset classes. Your interest rate on loans goes up. You might not be allowed to fly on a plane or buy a train ticket. So you need to make sure that you're a model citizen at all times and spit your gum in the trash. No, I'm being serious.
No, you're right, though.
That's what the guy was saying.
That's literally...
It's on Vice. I don't know. Look at Vice News, Chinese surveillance, and it's a video from about 2 years ago. I watched it yesterday.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's exactly what they want. Well, now is your chance to get this beautiful mug right here. Look at this. Look at this. Ooh, can you guys show a picture? There it is. There she is. That's your gift for a donation of any size. So partner with the Revival today. Today. Don't talk about talking about it. Partner with Revival today.
Yes.
Don't wait any longer. If you're on Facebook, #donate. If you want to give via text message, then text RT to 50155. If you're using Cash App, $RT Give. Venmo is RT Give. And then if you're going to use PayPal, it's revivaltoday.com/PayPal. If you want to give via crypto, we have you hooked up right here. Scan the code or go to revivaltoday.com/give. Look at all the different coins we receive. Venmo has actually started doing Bitcoin trading right on their app.
Yeah.
It's very easy to buy if you're on Venmo. Just wanted to let you know that because I just found that out. they offer more Bitcoin than Cash App does. So they have Litecoin, they have Bitcoin Cash, they have Bitcoin, and you can't do that on Cash App. Anyways, if you're going to mail in a check, Revival Today, P.O. Box 7, Prosperity, PA 15329. And don't forget to claim your offer for this wonderful, delightful mug, revivaltoday.com/offer. If this is all still too difficult, we'd love to talk to you and walk you through it. 412-446-2332. Thank you for all of those who have donated. You guys are awesome. What was the low risk again? All right.
Low risk was Run, RUN, Sunrun. Solar company.
And Black Mirror is a series on Netflix. Its episodes are all separate stories. It's from season 3, Bryce Dallas, and the main actor in it. Wow. Thank you, Christopher. Christofaros. What an ugly mug. You know what, Eric?
Cynthia, the name of the book was How to Make Money in Stocks by William J. O'Neill.
All right, any last minute questions? Thoughts on Pemba Pipeline Core or on TSX?
I'll have to look it up. And I haven't forgotten about LKCO. I'm still researching it.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. All right, ladies and gents, it's been a pleasure being with you here on Check the Market. Next up is going to be the 11 a.m. broadcast with either Adonis or Jonathan. I'm not quite sure who's on today. Do you guys know? And there it is. Then followed by a 4 p.m. broadcast live with Mrs. Maddie Ortiz. And then finally, we end the night with Check the News with Evangelist Jonathan Shuttlesworth. So you don't want to miss it. Thanks for watching. We will see you tomorrow.
See ya.